We love it here, we do. I cannot believe my luck. I'm seriously so happy right now. Hey y'all, my name is Merritt. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my March TBR game where I let a random letter generator choose the books that I read for the next month. So if you guys are new to my channel, I actually did start this TBR game last month. I will link it in the cards as well as in the description if you guys want to go check out that video. It was very chaotic. The wheel was very mean to me. As you could probably tell from that video, this TBR game lacked a lot of structure. So I actually took a lot of the feedback that I received from y'all in the comment section and I've adapted the rules for this game. So I'm going to quickly chat about all the new changes to this game right now. Let's do it. So first and foremost, the basic premise of this game is that I spin a wheel and whatever the wheel lands on, I have to read a book whose title starts with that letter. So for example, if I were to roll the letter F, I could read The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson because the main title starts with the letter F, final. But I've actually changed my game to where any of the words in the title can actually start with the letter that I spin. So for example, if I roll an F, or if I roll an E, I can read The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, and I can also do that with the author's first and last name. So I could also roll a B or an S, and I could pick this book for my spinner wheel choice. However, because I have made it easier, I've also added a couple things to make this game a little bit more difficult. So if I actually cannot fulfill a prompt for whatever letter that I've chosen, then I actually do have to add an extra spin. And I also have certain letters called challenge letters, which are, I believe, like Q, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, basically all the letters that I got in the first time I did this game, which was absolutely awful because I didn't know what to do with them because I literally didn't have any books on my TBR that started with those letters. I actually grouped all these letters together into one square. So if the wheel decides to be really mean and land on that square, I have to fulfill that letter. Or if I don't fulfill it, then I have to add 2 spins to my TBR game. So I'm originally starting off with 5 spins, but in the case that I can't fulfill a prompt, then I will have to do 6. And in the case that I can't fulfill a challenge prompt, then I will do 7. I will also be adding a spin for each book that I did not complete on the previous month's TBR that was chosen by the spinner wheel. However, I'm not going to be doing that rule for this month since I am just now instating that rule, but whatever books that I get from the spinner wheel this month, if I don't complete them by the next month, then I have to add spins to my TBR game for next month. So for example, I start off with 5 spins. However, if I don't read 2 of the books on my TBR from March, in April, I'm going to have to start with 7 spins. I am going to max out at 8 spins per spinner wheel game, so I will never be reading more than 8 books in a month from the spinner wheel prompts. However, there's also a way that I can actually reduce the number of spins that I have in a month. So while I do start off with 5, I could actually reduce it by the books that I end up picking for the wheel. So something that I thought was pretty fun is counting things as alliteration or double letters. If I were to roll the letter F, I could actually pick A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, and it would remove a spin from my spinner wheel total because there's both flesh and fire that start with the letter F. That is it for the rules. I hope all of these make sense, but let's just jump into the game and see what chaos the wheel has in store for me this month. I'm so nervous, I don't want to spin it. I think I have trauma from last month when I got like Q and V and all these. It was a nightmare. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we got the letter L. Let's see what I can do with that. I actually have a couple options for once. What is this like? So for the letter L, I'm going to be picking Leave the World Behind. And this was on my TBR for last month, but it was in like my maybe section. So no one come for me that I didn't read this. I just haven't had the time to get to this in February. So I'm going to push it to March because I am going to start a project that involves this book. So I will be having a video with my full thoughts on this one. But this is an adult mystery thriller that I've heard is more suspense about, I think, a family who stays at this Airbnb, and then the family that owns the Airbnb comes to that place and is like, hey, we need to crash here. It's supposed to be very weird. That's all I really know about this one. It's weird. So this is my first book for the letter L. We're on a roll here. Let's do it. Okay, the letter is S. What can I do with S? Oh my god, this is already working out for me. Oh my gosh, I don't want to jinx anything, but okay. I'm going to be reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo for the Grishaverse read along, and this follows the world of the Grisha, so it takes place after the events of Shadow and Bone, I want to say, and it follows a great cast of characters that goes on a heist mission. I've actually read this before, but I read it when it first came out, so my memory is very blank. I do remember a lot of the character names because I know that this is a booktube, book Twitter, book talk, literally everyone's favorite book. So I'm definitely excited to pick this back up after the context of Shadow and Bone, and I've put this on a few of my TBRs, so I do profusely apologize for that, but I actually do have to get to this in March, so this is definitely happening. Oh my gosh, we got 2 for 2 so far. I'm so excited. Okay, so we got the letter A. What can I do with A? What's it like having options? Oh my god, last month I was struggling with everything, and I think it's just because I got all the hard letters, but now I'm actually fulfilling books that even start with the letter. Like Six of Crows starts with an S. I am killing it so far because I actually have a book to fulfill for every single spin that I've had, and I'm not even using my new rules. We love it here, we do. So for A, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put Lore by Alexandra Bracken on my March TBR officially because I really want to read this book, and I'm actually going to be trying to do this as a buddy read with my community Discord server, which is linked in the description down below. By the way, I have a server full of a lot of different people in the book community. You don't have to be a booktuber to be in it. You don't have to do literally anything. You just have to like books and want to talk about them. We have a great time there. It's Cars themed, it's a fun time, and we decided that we wanted to do monthly buddy reads together, and so we all voted to read Lore by Alexandra Bracken, and so because Alexandra Bracken, A, this is a young adult Greek mythology retelling, and I hear it's very dark, and I know that people's opinions on it are controversial, so I'm ready to read it because whenever there's a book that's really hyped up and there's a lot of people who hate it and love it, I just have to read it because I need to know, am I gonna hate it or am I gonna love it? I need all the tea, I need to know the hot takes, and I think I'm going to love this book based on who's given it 5 stars and just what the premise is about. It just intrigues me so much, and I really think that I'm going to love it. So that's my 3rd book, Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I'm like actually dancing to the music now because I'm actually happy that I'm able to fulfill these prompts. So the letter that I got was B. I have no idea what I'm gonna do yet. 1 second. Okay, so I technically could use the Bromance Book Club, and I would be using double letters because bromance and book both start with B, but I feel like that's cheating because I did actually start the audiobook to that in February. So let me think on this. Oh my gosh, wait, guys, this is like the best month ever of this TBR game. I'm gonna be reading Crooked Kingdom because it's by Leigh Bardugo. Bardugo starts with a B. Oh my gosh, okay, so I'm not gonna say too much about this one because I don't know anything about it, but it is the sequel to Six of Crows, and I also have to read this for the Grishaverse read along. I cannot believe my luck. I'm seriously so happy right now. Okay, we have one more spin. Hopefully that's the last one. Let's do it. Okay, so I got the letter F. I feel like this keeps calling to me because I got S. Or no, I didn't get S. Did I get? Yes, I did. I got S, a B, and an F. I feel like I have to read The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, but I know that if I put this on my March TBR that I'm not going to read it, and then when I get to April, I'm gonna have to add an extra spin. I also could read A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire like I've been saying I was going to for literally months now because it has both flesh and fire in it. But am I gonna do that? Probably not either. I don't know which one to pick between the lesser of the 2 evils because I'm scared of both of these. Okay, I think I'm going to read A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire because I need to be held accountable to actually read this before the 3rd book comes out, and I think it actually does come out in April, so it's gonna happen. She's very thick, very long. I think it's like 600 something pages, but this one is also very scary, and I just don't think I'm ready to commit to it because I know that I won't read it because I just live in fear of Brandon Sanderson. So we're going to be reading A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire for the letter F, and even though this is alliteration, I'm just gonna keep the 5 books that I said because this was actually my last spin, so I don't wanna take any of these books off because I'm actually really excited about all of them. So these are the books that I was chosen to read by the spinner wheel, and I'm actually so happy right now that this went okay. It went pretty decently. I feel like last month, which of course was the first month of me doing this, was my absolute worst take of this entire game probably in my booktube career, because I literally got every single worst letter possible in the alphabet. Like, I didn't know I could have like hate towards specific letters in the alphabet, but I hate Q. I hate U. I hate V now. We have personal beef. But I feel pretty good about all these selections. So just to recap really quickly, I'm going to be reading A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire for the letter F. And I didn't even say what this one is about, but I've talked about it a lot on my channel. This is the sequel to From Blood and Ash, and I'm sure you guys are tired of me saying I'm going to read this and then never actually reading it. But hopefully this game holds me accountable, because if I don't finish it, then I have to read a whole other book next month, and I just don't want to do that. And it follows a maiden named Poppy in this adult fantasy world who may or may not spark a romance with their bodyguard. There's also like vampires and stuff in it if that interests you. Then I'm actually going to be reading the Six of Crows duology, so I got S, so I'm going to be reading Six of Crows. And then for the letter B, I'm going to be reading Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, because her last name starts with the letter B. Then I'm also going to be reading Lore by Alexandra Bracken for the letter A, because Alexandra, her name starts with an A. We love that. And then I'm going to be reading Leave the World Behind, and this one is an adult thriller that just sounds weird, and I'm here for it. So that is it for my TBR game portion of this video, but I did not get to pick every single book that I want to read this month through this game, so let me quickly chat about the other books that I'm hoping to pick up this month. So I am going to try and read The Death of Vivek OG. I have put this on a lot of TBRs as well, but I think I'm going to actually do it for the Cars readathon, which is again a readathon I'm hosting with some of my booktube friends, and all the information for that will be linked in the description down below. I have an announcement video that explains everything, but The Death of Vivek OG is a literary contemporary novel, and it's supposed to be really sad because it's following Vivek OG's life, but you know that he dies because it's about the death of Vivek OG. So I've heard that literally everyone who reads this cries. I've seen nothing but glowing 5-star reviews for it, and this is also for a secret TBR, so I definitely need to start this and finish it, but I'm just really scared of books that make me cry, so that's why I've just been avoiding this at all costs. The next book that I'm going to be reading is Station 11, and this is also going to be for a video that I'm doing, so you'll see my thoughts in depth on this book very, very soon, hopefully, if I can actually like get to it. But I am not really excited to read this because it's a pandemic novel, and you know, we're in a pandemic and that's never fun, but I really did adore The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel, so I am really excited to read her. I believe this is her debut novel, and The Glass Hotel is supposed to be in the same world as Station 11, so I feel like I need to go back and read the source material. I just remember she had absolutely beautiful writing, and so I'm excited to dive into this one, even though it scares me once again, because who wants to read about a pandemic when you're literally in a pandemic? No one, but I'm gonna do it. The next book that I'm hoping to pick up is actually Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, and I'm hoping to read this with Christine from Any Endings. I love her channel, she's such a sweetheart, so definitely go check her out. I will link her down below, but Turn of the Key is going to be hopefully my first Ruth Ware. I am really excited because I've heard that this is a paranormal-esque thriller that involves a nanny, so it's got the domestic element, it's got the is it or is it not paranormal trope. I've also heard that this one has a really shocking ending, and that's my absolute favorite in thrillers, so I'm ready to dive into the works of Ruth Ware and hopefully love it. The last book that I'm going to commit to for my March TBR is going to be Mexican Gothic, which is again going to be featured in a video, and I am nervous about this one because I've heard a lot of 3-star reviews. There was a lot of hype for this book when it first came out, and so I got it for my book of the month, and I was like, hey, like everyone seems to be obsessed with this book, not knowing anything about it. And then I found out it was Gothic horror, and I was like, you know what, I don't really like Gothic horror, but now I own this book, so I need to read it at some point, and it works into that secret video that I just talked about, so you'll get my thoughts soon, hopefully, but it's a big project, so I don't know when you'll actually get them. I am really just apprehensive to pick this one up, but again, I've heard a lot of people who I do really trust their opinions on give this book 5 stars, so that is what's giving me hope. I know that this book follows a haunted house, I believe in the 1920s in Mexico, and it's supposed to be very gross. I don't do well with horror, so why did I buy a horror novel? Who actually knows? But we're gonna read it and you're gonna get my reactions to it. So those are all the books that I am definitely going to get to in this next month, but let me chat about 3 more that I am just really dying to read, and I hope I can squeeze them in. So the first is The Inheritance Games, which was one of my 5-star predictions, and actually so was The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. The Inheritance Games is a Knives Out / Cinderella retelling, and it has truly devious mysterious vibes. It's about this girl who basically is offered an inheritance by this guy she never knew, and then she like goes to his house and they have to play like a competition to win the inheritance. I mean, it's the inheritance game, so they're playing games against these people that actually knew this man to win the inheritance, and there's lots of secret passageways and riddles, and also this cover is gorgeous. Everything about this just sells me, so I need to read this soon. If I don't read this in March, I'm gonna make it a priority for April. I'm also hoping to continue the Ember in the Ashes series with The Torch Against the Night. I have talked about Ember in the Ashes a million times on my channel. I feel that I just read it, so obviously that series is staying in my mind rent-free and I want to continue it as soon as possible, but this is just a really great Roman-inspired YA fantasy. I feel like it reads on the older side of YA, but it's really accessible to all ages, so I really loved the first book in this series, and I know there's a lot of hype surrounding it right now because the last book just came out, so I have to do what everyone else is doing. I am a follower, not a leader, and I am going to jump on this trend, this bandwagon, and make this my new personality. So hopefully I can get to A Torch Against the Night soon as well. And I know I talked about how scared I was of this book for like the entirety of this video, but I do want to at least attempt to start The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Does it scare me? Yes. But do I think I'm going to love it? Also, yes. I have been wanting to read this for the longest time. I think I put it originally on my October TBR, so it's been a long time coming, and this just sounds like everything I love in a book, but it is adult fantasy, it's high fantasy, and that scares me. Anytime I hear those words, I run for the hills. I definitely want to read this because it has the premise that just sounds so interesting. It's about this world where the bad guy actually wins, and I've heard it has a really cool magic system, and that just makes me want to read it, but also it's just really long, and I'm scared. Okay, I'm just scared. So those are all the books on my March TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would really appreciate any feedback that you guys have on my TBR game. Did you guys like the changes? Definitely let me know down below because I really value y'all's feedback. I will see you guys next month for this TBR game once again. So if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe down below for more book related content. I do post more than TBR games. I post a lot of reading vlogs and experiments, so you definitely don't want to miss any uploads that I have. I also have my Instagram, Goodreads, Amazon wishlist, Twitter, all that stuff in my description down below if you're interested in supporting me elsewhere. And until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!